When producing a movie, an important aspect is sound. That is at least prevalent starting in 1927 when the film The Jazz Singer became the first movie to be recorded with sound. Sound really makes or breaks a video for an audience, especially when there may be a moment where the visuals are present to distract you and the truth lies in the sound. For example, there are some instances in film where the audience may hear a dog barking in the background. For most cases, this is just to set up an atmosphere and make the scene realistic. In other cases, a dog barking is present to depict that there is a threat about to come. You see it in this clip from the film Moonlight from 2016.
Sharon! Hey!
Hey, Ma.
Baby!
So as we digress more and more into the production of sound for a film, that does not just include dialogue or score, but even includes the smallest of details. Here is where we take notice of Foley sound. Foley sounds are the everyday diegetic sounds that we hear in film. It's the tapping of a pencil, the clinking of a spoon to a teacup, and so much more to further enhance the quality of a scene that relies on sound to tell a story. Foley artists will use lots of equipment in order to produce sounds that were not amplified enough when recording or could not be included in the scene for microphone or other reasons, such as fictional aspects. It's very difficult to notice good sound, but really easy to notice bad sound. Most famously known, Foley is included in Star Wars, where Ben Burtt created the sound of a lightsaber. He blended the two hums of a TV picture tube and a projector motor from the movie theater he worked at. He had to begin to take in consideration the physics of lightsabers, moving around, and took a microphone, moved it back and forth in front of a speaker, emitting those blended hums to make the lightsaber sound in scenes. When sound artists and mixers create and include these sounds in film, whether it may not be so significant in that moment, it is super important for the progression of the film and the tone for that specific scene. Speaking from a clip I showed earlier, the movie Get Out, created, produced, and directed by Jordan Peele, is a story about an interracial couple where Chris Washington, a black man, goes to meet his white girlfriend's family for the first time. Throughout the beginning of the film, there is talk and some jokes made about the fact that his girlfriend has not told her family that her boyfriend is black. We see through this film in Chris's perspective all of the red flags that he feels as a black man as we are introduced to dozens of white characters. We see this dehumanization of black people in the movie and how the microaggressions work in a way from a black producer using those microaggressions to set a different and plot-twisting storyline. The only black characters we encounter are all always acting odd and come to find that they are under hypnosis. The sounds that really stuck out to me in the production of the film all relate to the idea of this hypnosis. We have his girlfriend's mom stirring her teacup. I've utilized this sound as an important key part of the film and dubbed it over my own teacup to show that it's everyday objects that are used to amplify the tone of a film.
Sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
For this sound, I put my headphones at the bottom of a mason jar and rotated it slowly on a table. I read in an interview with Jordan Peele and the sound mixer that they were going for this underwater and pressuring sound, like all the air had been sucked out of the scene. Peele also described the sound mixer to make a sound as if someone was getting their head pushed underwater in a bathtub. I think that hollowed out and deep sound really makes the scene thrilling. We also see Chris taking a photo of one of the other black men from the beginning of the movie that was taken and hypnotized. Photo sound snaps him out of this hypnosis. I used DaVinci Resolve to take clips from the movie and lower out their sound and take my key components and dub over my own recorded sounds. I cut their scenes and decreased the decibels, so if any of the original movie sounds were to come up, it sound too splotchy. I also wanted to take in consideration the limited series When They See Us, where we are told the story in a reenacted way of the now exonerated five. An extremely heartbreaking short series that makes a point in depicting the five wrongly accused in a way that won't make them look like criminals, but racially discriminated against young boys. In an article with Chris Bowers, a sound editor in the production, he talked about how an important aspect for sound when mixing was to portray a cold and metallic type of sound, especially when it came to court and jail scenes. They wanted to portray this gloomy, cold, and dark feeling that the boys were feeling when being interrogated, tried, and wrongly convicted. Clips I took from the film are mainly taken from the last two episodes, where it focuses on the boys' adult lives and especially Corey Wise's experience. I chose a scene where he is being brought to his cell in prison and used my own keys to dub over the sounds of the guards' keys. This sound at first notice just seems to fit the scene, but emphasized metallic sounds like these bring the atmosphere to life and further exemplify the power and sadness in the scene between the two characters.
This is you. Who?
I also utilized the scene with Corey Wise where he daydreams/hallucinates a scenario similar to the beginning of the series, where instead of joining his friends at the park, he stays with the girl he likes and they take a trip to Coney Island. He and the girl are on the tall swing ride, so I recorded chains and dubbed it over to emphasize that scene and the ride. It adds that metallic and cold idea in a very happy situation that he uses as an escape. I will just copy the sound from the clip and drop it below the scene to act as a new sound bar. Meanwhile, I'll cut bits into the scene and lower the decibel volume and fade it in and out to let my recorded sound flow easier into the scene. For me, it was important to make it mix well into it without completely drowning out one sound over the other. I didn't want to overpower my sound and lose the importance of other sounds in the film. There were other instances that I wanted to keep the same vision and opinion in mind that the sound mixers had put, but I put a personal twist on it with the materials that I had present. The importance of diegetic sounds is to bring a scene to life and make it more believable, rather than just dialogue and score. People would consider a lack of atmospheric sound unprofessional and fake. Whether diegetic sounds are the first thing you notice or the last, it helps set the scene and gives the audience sort of context clues in order to progress in the storyline. In these cases, Foley is super important for film and extremely supports everything else that goes into it. Especially these days where we have lots of sci-fi movies, it helps bring fiction to life.